The Brewers get it done again offensively. Offensively get it done. Run their record to 7-3. We'll get to all this coming up at a terrific start by Joe Ross. All that's next here on Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Oh, I always love it when you can go to your sports book, whoever it is, FanDuel, and you look and you see the Brewers are an underdog, a slight underdog. I love that. Slight underdog tonight against the Cincinnati Reds, and they cashed the number. Good to have you along, Chuck Freeman. Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Good to have you along. Following us on Google, Spotify, Apple. We're on all the major downloads. And, of course, go to YouTube. Search Locked On Brewers. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. That'll alert you every time we drop an episode here on Locked On Brewers. Just got back from Arizona. And somebody were asking me, boy, you're at the Final Four and all that. Were you able to watch the Brewers? Because the Brewers are on 2 hours before these games. Yeah, you're able to watch these games. It's just weird being out in Arizona, the 2 hour time difference. You get up in the morning, it might be 9 a.m. and like on a Sunday and games are already starting. So you're able to see these games. I like that idea. Sunday Brewer games starting at 10 a.m. in the morning. I love that out there. If they're on the East Coast, like tonight, this afternoon, game started at 3:40 out there. I love it. I love earlier starts. The East Coast, if you're in the East Coast, man, they late night starts. Especially if your team is on the West Coast, I'd hate that. But yeah, being on the West Coast, if you're a fan of the team out East or in the Central Time Zone, all good. Like the Milwaukee Brewers were today. So, man, let me get that thing wrapped up right around 6 o'clock. And the Brewers offensively came to play, and they get a 9-5 win over the Reds, even in that series at 1-1. Almost got the job done on Monday night offensively, getting down 8-0 and battling back. We had some technical difficulties. Some of you asked me if I had too much at the Final Four. No, there's no alcohol there for the media. They don't bring alcohol. No alcohol allowed for the media. They don't bring that in. They might have done that probably 30 years ago. And they did that for the Brewers until 30 years ago, until somebody ruined it. Not me, for the media, but no alcohol involved. Just a bad computer. I'll be on Amazon looking for a new computer, a new motherboard. That's what it was. It just seems like it's all whacked. And I don't know what it is. But anyway, you don't want to hear about that. You want to hear about the Brewers. Yeah, almost came back and won that game on Monday night. And I'm sitting in the press room at the game, and I'm watching all these national media guys around. I'm watching the Brewer game. I'm watching my team here. I got a report on them. And, the game was done probably 5-10 minutes into the national championship game on Monday night. So Tuesday, all clear. Got to the airport, watched the game on my phone, and all good, man. Brewer 9-5 win over the Reds. Yeah, getting plus money. To be honest, there was a sports book right in the Arizona, the Arizona football stadium, State Farm Stadium, where the Final Four was. I was like, man, do I have time to go there? But then I was like, man, I can't cash it out. I got to wait a year. So, but that's why you always need to go and cash in with, the good folks over at FanDuel. FanDuel is the way to go. But I did not have my phone. Didn't have my phone. Had nothing with me. I'm running around doing stuff. But man, if you could cash in on the Brewers on an underdog, I would say go for it. And I thought they were a pick 'em on Monday night. But Joe Ross was great. Longest start of the year for the Brewers. Pitched into the 7th inning. And I didn't expect that. I've been talking on this podcast on how the Brewers need to have longer starts than their guys. And Joe Ross gets this first win since 2021. Hats off to him. Yeah, the offense was great. But number one, Joe Ross, okay? 7 strikeouts into the 7th inning. Now, I'm not going to do what we always do here in the state of Wisconsin and give all the love to Joe Ross and say, man, this guy can be amazing for us. He's pitched one great outing. Let's let it marinate a little bit and see how he does. But, I did love it. It was great to see, and picked up the bullpen mightily. I don't think that Pat Murphy wanted to use his guy Uribe in the 9th inning with a 4-run lead, but Murphy ain't taking any chances. You never notice that? I mean, he's here to win every game today. He's here to win every game today. Yeah, he had a little bit of a Sunday lineup on Sunday. I think that's just a thing we have to accept in baseball because a lot of teams do that. But man, he's not looking long term. He's trying to win every game today, not saving anybody. 9-5. The guy who left for Chicago might not have used Uribe in the 9th inning. Yeah, win today. I don't care if it's a non-save situation. 9-5. Get Uribe into that game, and let's get this one home for the Brewers. And they did. The Cowboy, I love that. Reaches for the sky and puts the gun in the holster. And he said afterwards, I want to be a cowboy. Uribe, man. Love him. Really good. And yes, holding the fort down in that closer spot. But Joe Ross, what can you say? Did everything. And the Brewers staked them to some early offense as well. We'll get to that coming up next. But the offense, I thought, was just glowing. And the outfielders for the Brewers are just raking these days. I mean, who's not playing well for the Brewers right now? All right, Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Tell you about our terrific folks over at GameTime. GameTime, where all you need to do on GameTime is download the app. I tell you, I buy my tickets from GameTime. I've got great seats behind the visiting dugout at AmFam Field. Great seats. Sitting back there, $15 a pop last year for, I believe might have been Toronto. I think it was Toronto. But $15 a pop. About a half hour before game time. And that's what the GameTime app is all about. They got a great deal coming for you as well on GameTime. First of all, you got to download the app. And it'll be all there for you. And what you need to do is right now, $150 or more you spend on a baseball game, you're going to get $20 off your first purchase on this until April 14th. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets. GameTime app, limited time, all users. Doesn't matter if you're first time or any time. $20 off any MLB purchase of $150 or more. So you buy 4 tickets for $150, you're $20 off. When you use the promo code First Pitch, download that GameTime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Again, you can also find where you're sitting on that seat, where you're sitting. It's all good. You're going to love it. GameTime. It's the one app that I use. Sunday afternoon specialties at AmFam Field. And it's not only for baseball. It's for all sports. It's for theater. It's concerts and all that. GameTime. All right, we're coming right back after this timeout. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers. Welcome back to Locked On Brewers. Chuck Freeman, late night here. Getting back from my flight from, Mitchell Field. Taking a little drive home. But I had to cut this. Watch the final of that game before I left the airport in Arizona. And a terrific win. 9-5 for the Brewers and the outfield. Reached base 10 times. 10 times the outfield reached base, scored 7 runs. Sal Frelick, did I hear somebody want to bench Sal Frelick after the slow start? I hope not. Because Sal Frelick, run him out there. You know me. I want Frelick in that everyday lineup. Lefties, righties, I don't care. Run him out there. The kid's got talent. Okay? He does have talent. Yeah. When I mentioned last year that, he's if you could get a Pete Alonso, a huge piece, I'd have to think about it. Okay. But no, Sal Frelick. It's not because of his ability. Sal Frelick is great. 3 hits, 3 hits. Perkins going 3 for 5. Excuse me. Perkins did not have a very good spring training. It looked like he might be the odd man out and be spending some time down at AAA, but here he is, 3 for 5. He's, in my opinion, he's the best defensive outfielder. Now, it's hard to choose because I think they're all good, okay? But Perkins, I think, is the best defensive outfielder on this team. Switch hitter. Whatever you get offensively from him, you need offense. And on this team, Yelich, I'm out of Yelich. Yelich just continues. Had the home run at the opposite field home run on Monday night where, I mean, when I say the old Christian Yelich, I don't like going down that road with Yelich, but it kind of reminded me of the old Yelich where it was almost a mistake home run. He didn't think he got it all. He might not even know that he hit it the opposite field. He had to look up and there it went, tailed over the fence. He had that much power. And he obviously got stronger over the winter as well. So yeah, Yelich even hitting excuse me home runs these days, which I don't think he had any of those the recent years. So Frelick, Perkins, Yelich, the outfield rock solid. Bauer's a 2-run double as well. But yeah, you got to love everything that is cooking for the Brewers, the Cowboy, Ross offensively, so many things to like. And the Brewers are 7-3. 7-3. I want to take a quick peek at some of these batting averages right now for the Milwaukee Brewers. Because I mean, the eye test, early in the season, I really don't look at much at averages, but the eye test tells me everybody's raking. Ortiz is batting 312. Contreras, of course, 375. Yelich, 324. Adames, 250. I feel that's a loud 250 because I feel like Adames is producing with guys on base. Rhys Hoskins struggling a little bit, 212. The big fella is going to be up there, though. Sal Frelick. Did someone say that guy was struggling? He's hitting 324 now. Terang just continues to hit. He had another hit on Tuesday night, batting 353. And Perkins, limited bats, but still 385. We thought this team was going to be better offensively than a year ago. Okay. A little concerned about the third base spot, but that seems to be held down by Oliver right now, Oliver Dunn. But offensively, if you can get what you get from Terang, Adames is going to pick it up even more so. Yelich is steady. Okay. And he continues to be better than he was last year. I love this team winning 90-plus games. I know it's 10 games of the season, but my 10-game sample size on these guys, okay, offensively, I think is going to be pretty good. Now, there's been some low-scoring games this year, but I think offensively, heck of a lot better. More exciting brand of baseball. They're stealing bases, okay? They're running the bases. They're using their team speed. Their defense is one of the best defenses in baseball. The bullpen, even without Devin Williams, pretty good. Have had a couple of hiccups so far. Just if we can get that starting rotation together. That starting rotation, just hold it. Don't tax the bullpen and get more starts like we did out of Joe Ross on Tuesday night. 7 Ks, pitching 6 1/3 innings of baseball. Love it, man. And who knows? You continue to hang into the race, and maybe you get a starter. Might cost you a bit or two, but maybe you get a starter once you look around on the trading deadline day. All right, we come back. We'll look ahead and see who's starting on Wednesday as the Brewers try to keep this thing going. They've won 7 of their first 10. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. And PrizePicks, great sponsor here on Locked On Brewers. Hey, choose multiple players to win on PrizePicks. Download the app, first of all. And if you like certain matchups, I see a lot of numbers guys out there on Twitter and liking pitching matchups and certain matchups. So this is your chance to cash in. Let's say you like Shohei against a certain pitcher. I mean, you probably like him against everybody, but a certain guy, you really like his numbers. Maybe you like Yelly, certain numbers against him. PrizePicks offers weekly promotions, special offers for the biggest moments in sports, basketball as well. but download the app, use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB for that first deposit match up to $100. Again, download the app, PrizePicks, LOCKEDONMLB, that first deposit match up to $100, and multiply your picks. You could win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks, and the world's best players are in your hands with PrizePicks. PrizePicks, America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 3 million members. All right, we're coming right back. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers. Welcome back to Locked On Brewers. Chuck Freeman, your host. Good to have you along here. Late night on a Tuesday night. Wade Miley looks like he's ready to go. Had one rehab start. He'll make the start on Tuesday. And this is the case, too, where, he's going to be probably on a pitch count, I would think. They did send Ashby down to AAA. And, he had the nice start earlier this week. He'll be up. Ashby had 4 errors behind him. Well, not when he was on, but early errors, second inning run for the Reds on Monday night led to an error. But Ashby's going to be fine. I like some of the things he did. He gave that 2-run bomb in the second inning, and some of the hits kept on coming. But I think there's something to build on with Ashby. Don't give up with him after one start. I think there's some good things. Again, the defense might have helped him out. But Wade Miley, can we get 4 innings out of Wade Miley? And I'm just talking about how we need longer starts on these guys, but this is an exception here. Wade Miley coming back to the rotation, huge. Had that shoulder impingement, but he seems like he's ready to go. Okay. Gonna have the bullpen up. Get this game coming up on Wednesday, and then he go back to the top of the rotation with Freddie Peralta, and a huge series coming up this weekend with the Orioles, where they're bringing up their phenom in the minor league system as well. So we'll talk more about that on tomorrow's show. Just so happy the Brewers are off to a 7-3 start. And like I said the other day, a lot better being 7-3 than 3-7. That's going to do it for today. Late night show. We are going to be a little short on this show, but I want to get something out there. Coming back for my road trip at the Final Four, and the Brewers came up aces on this trip. Held their own. Have split this series with the Reds so far. And again, I think when you go on the road, you split, you're good. So if they could take at least one of the next 2, and that's not a loser's mentality at all. If you could just win one of the next 2 games in Cincinnati, it'll be all good. But here's the caveat here. Wednesday's game, I looked late afternoon, 70% chance of rain. Game time, 70% chance of rain. Supposed to rain all day, but it looks like the rain increases as the afternoon goes along in Cincinnati. Now, I'm recording this in the middle of the night on Tuesday night. That might change by Wednesday morning, but originally it was supposed to be Tuesday. There was supposed to be rain in Cincinnati, but that weather forecast changed, and it's now Wednesday where the bulk of the rain is going to hit. Let's hope they get it in or wait all night. Remember, back in the old days, I think Cincinnati never had a curfew for baseball. They'd be playing baseball at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. There was no rain. There was no 1:30, 2 a.m. deadline in Cincinnati. They would just wait all night. There'd be baseball going on at 3:30 in the morning in Cincinnati. I think that was the one baseball town. There was no curfew. Speaking of curfews, we're out of here. Chuck Freeman, Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day.